Wiseman, and you are listening to Steiny and Guru on 95.7 The Game.
All righty, welcome back, everybody. Steiny and Guru with you. And we're going to head out to the phone lines. Talk to Monte Poole. Monte Poole was on the Klay Thompson bus yesterday at the parade. He was, dare I say, resplendent.
Yeah.
Nice beige jacket in the hot sun. How'd you hold up, Monte?
Well, it's been a long month, man.
Yeah, I mean, you're too professional to wear shorts and a T-shirt, I guess, but that's what makes you.
Monty.
Well, I had to be in studio for the beginning of the show. So I spent the first 50 minutes in studio, and then they had a car for me to take me to the bus. And so I was supposed to be on the bus for half an hour, 45 minutes. And it ended up being more like 90 minutes.
Gotcha.
So,
I mean,
it was a good time, though.
Yeah, let me start there with Klay. I was just, you start thinking about his road back 2.5 years. I mean, what did you kind of glean from being able to see him up close in those 90 minutes?
Well, there's no question that he really, really, really appreciates this journey, and the way it ended for him. This trophy means more to him than I think the previous three. Again, I mean, they're all great, and he said that, but this is special because it's like the culmination of all the work that he put in, all the days that he hated what he had to do, and all the rehab, the surgeries, the recoveries, and so at the end of that road, there's this rainbow, and it's a championship. So for Klay, he was clearly just so excited. I talked to him, talked to his mom, his dad. He had a bunch of buddies on the boat, and Otto Porter Jr. was also on the boat and with some people, his people. So, but it was really clear that I mean, Klay several times, jumped off the bus with the trophy and just ran around and let the people touch the trophy and touch him. He really savored the moment in ways that really he didn't in previous championship parades.
Monty, I grew up reading you. Nobody covers the team better than you do, and I mean that.
Oh, here we go with that. Now I grew up reading you.
No,
here we go.
That's love, Monty. Yeah. Now, when it comes to the Niners, the Raiders, when they were here, there was a divide. The Giants, A's, but the Warriors have always been the Bays team. But to go 13 years and, it's a great time out and be the butt of so many jokes. To see you on that float yesterday and know now this is the fourth parade, first one in San Francisco, do you ever just stop and think and drop your pen or just talk to yourself or anybody else like, how did we get here? This is incredible, and it's led by Stephen Curry, who now I'm putting up there, Monty, with Joe. I'm putting up there with Jerry. I'm putting up there with Ricky Henderson, all-time great athletes from the Bay Area. It's like, and Steph can still hit the plus button, Monty, on his calculator like it's not over. Has that sunk in? I gave you a lot. My bad.
Yeah. It really is pretty miraculous. I find myself having to remind people, and I'm sure you guys do, that the Warriors, they were for many years, like you said, the butt of jokes. They were the NBA outback. Free agents wouldn't come here unless you overpaid them. And so it was not a place that it wasn't a destination. And that changed. And honestly, none of this would be happening if not for number 30.
Right.
This guy comes to town, and remember initially, he wanted to go to New York. And he comes here and becomes a star and then becomes a superstar. And not only that, but he becomes sort of the centerpiece of the franchise. And, I mean, honestly, I believe that if not for Steph, sure, you don't have the championships. No, you don't have those. But you also I don't think you have Chase Center. I think his presence and his impact sort of opened up a sort of, a civil will and support for this team and this franchise. When you're good, when you're really good and you're exciting and you get the public behind you, it's easier to get stuff done, kind of like the opposite of what the Oakland baseball team is doing, So I couldn't help that. But if you look around and you see how the Giants built their ballpark, what they do. After years of talking about leaving, they decided new ownership comes in and said, we're going to go the other way. We're going to build a good team. They went out and signed Barry freaking Bonds. And 8 years later, They had a ballpark.
Yeah.
The Giants, the Warriors, Joe Lacob and Peter Guber take over in 2010, and they want to go to San Francisco. You know that, but it took them about 4 or 5 years, and they didn't really get to that point where they knew they had it done until that first championship. And people sort of just jumped on that bandwagon. And I'm telling you, man, in places like this, when you become a winner and then a multiple winner, people love that. And it's hard for people to say no to you when you do that. And so, and again, without Steph, no, it doesn't happen. Yeah, obviously, Joe and Peter did a lot to get things going, and Rick Welch and Steve Kerr's impact has been special. But they all realize that if Steph Curry never plays for the Warriors, none of this happens.
Monte Poole joining us on 95.7 The Game. He works for NBC Sports Bay Area, covering the Golden State Warriors. Off-season decisions and priorities. Just a couple I want to throw at you. You think they'll extend Jordan Poole? Will they extend Wiggins? And then what about Peyton II, Looney, and Otto Porter Jr.? Just, some quick thumbnails on each of those five.
Yeah, I don't think that the extensions are the top priority, because those guys are still under contract. And, yeah, you want to extend them, but you've got some unrestricted guys in Looney and GP2. And Otto, and I think Otto might be a tough one because, here's a guy who's made a lot of money in his career.
Yep.
I mean, he had a nice fat contract, and he took this on a minimum. He just wanted to play and prove he can play again and be healthy again. And I think the market for him might have gone up, even though, I don't know if he's going to ever be a 35-minute-a-night guy. I question that. And that also applies to Looney. And that's why I think his value may not be as much to other teams as to the Warriors, because he's not a guy that's going to give you 30, 35 minutes a night on a regular basis. He's not that guy. And I don't know if he ever will be that guy. But Looney with GP2, I think, is really, really important for this team. He is a rotation player who makes an impact, and he can do it on both ends, but especially on defense. Obviously, he's not a great shooter, but he can hit the corner three. He can sneak in behind the bigs in the paint and get layups and dunks. But his defensive intensity sort of makes him such a great fit with guys like Wiggins and Draymond. And so, he can make some money. People are looking like, how did this guy not have a job already? Well, sometimes you got to go to the right place. But I think GP2 obviously wants to stay here, but it is a business. I don't know if the Warriors can afford him, but I know if I'm the Warriors, I'm thinking, okay, he's probably my first priority, and then in Looney, if the money's right, you can't give Looney, 4 years, $80 million. You can't do that. But you can give him 3 or 4 years. You can give him 10 or 12 or million a year. If he wants to play here for for 3 years and 30 and 35 million or something like that, or 4 years and 45. I mean, I would definitely look at that. And so, but Otto, yeah, if he wants to come back, he's going to also want a long-term deal, another 1-year deal. He's not at that stage of his career. This isn't like the guys they had before with Zaza and D. West and those guys who were nearing the end of their careers, just happy to be on the ride to championships.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, so you get to Wiggins and Jordan, and Wiggins, like I said, they're under contract, and you would like to take care of them in advance, and you have a few months to do that, but. I mean, you have to know that they're not going anywhere right now. And to me, that makes them a little less urgent as much as you want them. And you want to those guys to know how much they're valued within the franchise. But there are priorities here. And Joe Lacob has said, hey, he wants to win. We know that. He wants to win, and he'll spend. So I think they'll figure out a way to keep the guys they want to keep.
Oh, good stuff. Monty, let me ask you this, because I posed this question to Steiny yesterday, and rightfully so. All Warrior fans at the parade were happy. And, I'm having conversations, and a lot of people act like the Warriors swept Boston. No, it didn't happen that way. They were down 1-0, down 2-1. I asked Steiny this, and what did the Warriors do to kind of suffocate Boston and change this series to where they wanted in the fashion they did in your eyes?
Well, a couple of things, and I don't want to take. First of all, I don't want to take anything away from what the Warriors did. But going into this series, I looked at the fact that the Celtics had to go through 2 7-game series. One against the defending champion Bucks, and one against the Heat. And when you play 7 games against Miami, it's like 15 games. I'm sorry, that's the way they play. And so my thought was, you know what? At some point, these 14 games that they went through to get to the finals is going to tell. And then come Game 1, and in the fourth quarter of Game 1, the Celtics blew off the Warriors. And I thought, maybe I was wrong. These guys, maybe they are Terminators. Maybe they're at that point now where the youth is just so giving them so much life to where they can coming off of a game on Sunday in Miami, fly home to Boston on Tuesday, fly west here on Wednesday, and then come out here for the media day and then play the next night. And in the fourth quarter, hit the gas. That was crazy to me. But I thought through games 2 and 3. Okay, they're not going to keep doing this because the Warriors' defense is too good, and they're not getting beaten by the guys that really would scare you, which are Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. And Derek White isn't going to beat you. Al Horford isn't going to beat you. Grant Williams isn't going to beat you. And I thought their defense was crucial. Wiggins played tremendous defense. Draymond was up and down, but when he was good, he was very good. Steph, he had the one off shooting game, but Steph owned the series pretty much. So I just thought that they stayed with the defensive principles and didn't let Jason Tatum get comfortable at all. And Wiggins, that dude played his tail off. So you look at that, and Jaylen Brown had some moments, but his moments didn't count. You know what I mean? They weren't clutch time moments. And I just thought the Warriors, in the end, wore them down with their defense. And that kind of told the story. Once they got to the Game 4 and won Game 4, I thought, okay, this series is going to end at 6, probably as I predicted before the series started.
Hey, Monty, get some sleep.
Get some rest, baby.
Hey, man, you know what I learned? I'm getting too old for these back-to-back red-eye flights, and then on to Boston, and then on the way back, getting on a plane 2 hours after going to bed.
Yeah,
it's rough, man, for an old guy like me. So,
you did a great job, man.
Yes, sir.
All right, have a great one, Monty. Appreciate it as always.